Right. So, on the ban issue, I'm going to go across to a couple of our experts. But AK Jain, I'm coming to you first up. On the crackdown itself, we see crackdowns happening in dribs and drabs that has happened against the PFI in the past. But the kind of crackdown that has happened today, it seems it has come from the sense that these organizations are quick to regroup, or they abscond, then they remorphize into something else, as it happened with Simi and Indian Mujahideen, etc. So they don't want to give that chance to the cadre currently. Do you believe that in the kind of crackdown the agency have done across 15 states, over 100 people arrested, certainly the entire top leadership, they will be able to contain the regrouping of these cadres going on from here, even if imminently there's a ban coming up?
No, it's very difficult to say that they will be able to contain it. Continuous action is required. Continuous surveillance is required in all the states. Initially, Simi started from UP, Bahraich. Gradually, it started spreading to other states also. Then Simi turned into PFI. PFI was initially very powerful in Kerala. We used to hear that PFI is very active in Kerala. Gradually, because no action was taken against PFI, it has spread to so many states, including UP, Assam, Bihar. They have come to northern India also. So today's crackdown will naturally have a lot of impact, but central government will have to continue with the efforts. NIA, ED, all these agencies, all central agencies, IB, ATS of the states, state police forces, they will all have to chip in, and only then this organization will be able to control this organization. Otherwise, it has spread like anything in the last few years. So action, in my opinion, is already...
You're saying that even though they've swept the rug under the feet of the PFI, first of all, would you say that they've managed to do that? And if they have managed to do that, this cannot end here. It will still need consistent crackdowns to completely bury this organization.
Yes, continuous efforts are required, and Herculean efforts are required by all the organizations, because PFI has grown very big in recent times.
And they seem to have a lot of cadre and sympathizers overseas as well, in the Middle East apparently. A lot of their money, funding, etc., but a lot of their people are also associated in the Middle East. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, I want to bring you into this. Do you believe that this crackdown has been, the scale has been managed well? We've all been wanting a crackdown of this kind. In that, the agency has done well. Whether a ban is coming up next or not, I'll leave it for another minute. But do you believe that this is indeed the only way, the best way the agency could have gone about it? That in one sweeping action, you come crashing down across the national network?
Absolutely. Look, the problem here always was that the organization is so wide and it morphs and mutates. See, it's borrowed the Pakistan model where, every time there's a UN sanction on one organization, it morphs as something else, right? And they raise funds under a different name, etc. And they have a military wing and a civilian wing, kind of like, the Irish Republican Army and Sinn Féin, which was the political wing sort of thing. They've perfected this. They've learned that it is in diversity that strength lies. And so they have a diverse, alphabet soup of different organizations that keep coming up with exactly zero diversity of ideology, essentially a multi-headed hydra. So you needed these multiple raids and things like that to happen simultaneously in order to get them at the game. But this brings us to the second point, the ban. Now, remember, the Supreme Court isn't very tolerant of bans going around left, right, and center like that. Because, the problem here is you tread very dangerous territory. When are you banning political dissent and when are you not? And as a rule, the Supreme Court has been very intolerant of bans if you can't back it up. So as a first step, you needed to have these raids in order to collect. There is already enough evidence but you needed a further quantum of evidence, which will come through the seizure of documents, wiretaps, etc., 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 which is exactly why you need the raid. It is the precursor to the ban. You simply can't just ban an organization because you feel it is so. You need clinching evidence, and that is why you needed to go collect this. So this is the first step in a ban. It will ultimately eventuate in a ban. Now, the Indian public and even the Supreme Court tends to be very accepting of bans if there is a crisis. So, for example, if another Mumbai 2611 style attack happens, they will accept some kind of a blanket ban. Though in about 2-3 years, they'll even overturn it. The thing is, you can't allow for that to happen. See? So you have to show linkages. You have to do your homework to prevent the morphing, like a previous panelist said.
So how do you do that? I was going to come to exactly that. This is still homegrown terror. From the SIMI to the PFI today, the ideology never dies, right? So what do we do against the ideology?
Exactly. So see, the ideology, the problem is it originates elsewhere. And because we live in a globalized world with so much tracking, Al-Qaeda used to do this in the, even before the internet was very popular, they used to do this through the dark web. It required a great level of expertise to get into the dark web. Today, there's like online radicalization modules, which you can even get on YouTube, right? So it's very difficult to curb the radicalization. What we can do is prevent people from skipping the net or evading the net by saying, oh, we are not associated with them. Maybe there were 1 or 2 rotten apples out there, but the rest of us were not rotten apples. And therefore, you can't ban all of us and then start up a new organization. Because like we know, PFI is basically semi-reformed.
Yeah.
So you needed all this evidence of showing interlinkages, of connections, of, a sort of mental meeting of minds, essentially unity in radicalization, despite diversity in names and organization.
Yeah, in the PFI umbrella itself, there's a women's wing, there's a media wing, there is a campus wing, there is a health center, there is a charity body, there is a human rights body. I mean, we just ran that web. So, it's a very cleverly orchestrated, multi-body kind of a web. And they also, of course, have a web of what kind of actions they take in different states. They've been very clever in the way they have established themselves in the minds of the public and even in the news cycle over the last couple of years. Very quickly, Abhijit, before I go to Maulana Kazmi.
And just to remember, when SIMI was banned, even before it was banned, it had created these splinter organizations. Remember, PFI itself was created in 2007 when 3 separate organizations only in name, united in purpose and in leadership, which were called the National Democratic Front in Kerala, the Karnataka Forum for Dignity, and the Manida Neethi Pasarai in Tamil Nadu. They were united into one to create this. And somehow to give it a sort of southern regional view, it pretended it was somehow different from the northern wings and things like that. And we all know that's not the case. So you have to find the proof for the ban. Otherwise, the ban won't stick in court.
Yes, we actually did run that breakup of how that transformation from SIMI to NDF to all of these organizations, the SIMI offshoots and etc. took place. We can run that one more time on our screen. But that brings